Hi, welcome to the Gen X Glammy Gab channel here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. We're going to do an epic get ready with me full face of Charlotte Tilbury today. But before I get into that, well, I might start getting into it because I pulled out a lot of Charlotte Tilbury. Let's start with the skincare. Let's start with Charlotte's Glow Toner. This is a fantastic toner. It does, like its name say, give you a bit of a glow, and it has essence in it. I'm so sorry that I'm beating the dead horse on essence, which I often do. If you're not new to the channel, I always say it's one of my favorite ingredients that goes into a product because it soaks up everything that you put on top of it. So there you have it. And, you know, I did a consult once, a free consult with a official Charlotte Tilbury makeup artist as part of her rewards program. I'm in a tier where I could be doing these consults, and maybe you should weigh here and in the comments. Should I be doing more of them? I feel like I could learn a lot more, although I don't know. I have my own way of doing my full face of Charlotte Tilbury. So let's let that toner sink in a little bit. I don't know if I got enough on my neck, so why don't we go with a little bit more on the neck and see where that leads us. So if you're also new to the channel, I am doing a Road to 1K giveaway. That's not a Road to 1K subbies. We're already there here in the channel. Thank you very much to everybody that tunes in. No, this is a Road to 1K views. Haven't gotten 1K views in 2026 yet. And, you know, I feel like it's a pretty good milestone for us small content creators to hit that mark consistently. And in the spirit of this Road to 1K giveaway, every video I drop until around mid-July, when I'll be hitting up a US post office when I go on vacay to the US, I am dropping a new product into this giveaway. If we hit the 1K, one lucky person is going to win a lot of stuff. If we don't, then I'm just going to divide it up, share the wealth, and do several giveaways based on the comments that have been eligible comments that we've been on this road journey with, the videos that have the most engagement. So weigh in, please do. There'll be a couple more videos before this thing closes. Going in with the Dark Spot Correcting Recovery Serum. Now, if you're following Charlotte Tilbury, she has this serum out there on the market, and she also has her like magic elixir serum, which is more of a milky serum, which I'm a big fan of. I do have some in the deluxe size. I have not pulled the trigger on a full size one in quite some time because I just work through what I have. I rotate with my other favorite brands, and then I also have, like I said, a fair amount of minis that I can work with if I'm just feeling like I need some of that magic elixir going on. That definitely needs to sit in the skin. Let's give a little bit of a spritz. I'm going to be showcasing it all, whether I talk about it or not. Sometimes I might just go like this so that you can see it. But this is the Magic Hydrating Mist. It's a Radiant Skin Rescue, wait for it, essence. And it just really helps take away. It gives you a refresher, has a scent to it. So if you're opposed to scents, this one's not for you. Refreshes, takes some of the pollutants off, although I did have a clean face when we started this. Letting that set in, because before we go in with some let's go in with that Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream, because the next skincare, before we move on from skincare, is going to be a bit of her Wonder Glow, which is an excellent little instant glow primer. So what am I up to today? I always like to share with folks what I'm up to today, especially since I'm broadcasting from Sweden. And there are a lot of cool traditions here for those folks who aren't residing in Europe or in the Scandinavias, specifically the Nordic part of the world. But today is probably one of the most celebrated holidays that the Swedes have, and that's saying a lot, because Christmas Eve is their second most celebrated. It is Midsummer, my friends. We are and probably around the world too. This is the longest day of summer. We're going to have the most daylight, but when you start getting up into these Nordic countries, this long day of daylight rolls into what they like to call the midnight sun, where it's 24 hours of sunlight. And the further north you get, the more you get that 24 hours of sun. And there's a lot of traditions. We'll get into them. I have spent that midnight sun up in Finland once. A couple years ago, I was up there running an ultra marathon in the uplands of Finland above the Arctic Circle. Our race started at 6 p.m. and it was to end at 6 a.m. And the whole time we were racing, this was painful. They have something called fells in Finland, which is something between like a mountain and a hill, and they're just, imagine a hill of rocks. And we were climbing up and down, but the whole time there were reindeer running around us, and we were under the midnight sun. It was in July, and man, it was, the word is majestic. It was majestic. Here's what the Wonder Glow toner looks like. It looks like it might have a little bit of pigment, but it's really not much. It's coming in. I love that I'm getting this base because I have pulled out a lot of my Charlotte Tilbury products that are gonna give a lot of warmth to my face. I haven't gotten a lot of color yet this season. This is another reason why the folks here in this part of the world celebrate this, because let me tell you, the winter months are quite dark, and so they live for this day. They live all year for this day. Community, we're going to get into a little bit of the traditions around Midsummer. All the communities have a maypole, and maybe you're familiar with some of this. This isn't unique to that culture. Like the Germans also have a maypole. The ladies dress up in their dirndls and they go around the pole and they have, flower crowns of hair, and that's very much like what folks will do here. In fact, later today, myself and the invaders, and we have family in town visiting, we'll be hitting up our local maypole and I don't know, just experiencing some of the culture of this beautiful country that we're in. We'll have, before we go to the maypole celebration, the reason it's so quiet here, and so let me just show you quick. This is the extra large creamy bronzer that Charlotte Tilbury sells. I don't know if I'll ever get through all of this, but let's just go in with it. Yeah, the invaders are out on a bike ride. I forewent the bike ride so I could have some time to hang out with you all here, because it's been a minute since I dropped a video. And like I said, in this progressive in this progressive giveaway that we have found ourselves in a community, the more videos I upload, the more products that are getting thrown into the giveaway. Let me show you what I'm throwing in today. Of course, it's going to be something Charlotte Tilbury, right? So this is the Pillow Talk Big Lip Plump Gasm Lippy that's going in, and it has the tingles. I'm not a fan of it, and it was a gift, so I'm going to go ahead and toss it in. And then one of Charlotte's beauty wands. It's in a mini, and it is it's a really nice shade of a highlighter. So that's going in. That's going in the giveaway. Now, like I said, if I have to break up the giveaway into several, there's 5 categories if you're just tuning in. There's a Charlotte Tilbury category in the giveaway. There's skincare, there's beauty tools, there's what I'm calling like a lip and a blushy category, and then there's a base category. So if I can't get to that 1K and we break this up, I have enough products in all those different categories to do a very equitable breakup and make 3 or 4 massive giveaways for folks. Oh, we forgot to go in with a little bit of a lip mask. Here we go from Charlotte Tilbury. This is her life-changing lip mask. I usually put this on at night. It doesn't have much of a hue to it. It's a very, very nice, calm, relaxing, feel like you're giving your lips it's their own little spa day moment. We're just going to put that on now. I've got to let it kind of sink in, because before we go in with any lip liner, I want that to be a little bit dry, but I also want to do a little bit of treatment on my lips. Next, we're going in with some Charlotte Tilbury Magic Vanish. I want to say this, we're going to veer off the midsummer sort of chatter, and I'll probably come back to it. and ask if anybody has been watching, and I haven't talked about this. The Magic Vanish comes in 4 shades, and it's kind of like a brightener and concealer. I have it in the shade 1 Fair and the shade 2, and sometimes this sells out, like especially this particular shade 1, and it's just it is truly magical. So I haven't talked about this for a while, but is anybody tracking that Netflix dropped their 3rd season of America's Sweethearts, and it's like a documentary, a docu-series on the sort of the process that goes into auditioning and making the final cut to go to training camp, to make another final cut to be one of the 36 lucky gal dancers. And these gals aren't just, these are elite athletes that make this team. And it's in CMT, I don't know if it was 2010, 11, 12, did a DCC making the team, and it was a longer version of what they're showing here with the America's Sweethearts, and it's just a really fun thing to watch. And Charlotte Tilbury last year jumped on as one of the sponsors, for this thing. So it's just fascinating. So if you watched last season of it and you're watching this season, you will see all the ladies using Charlotte Tilbury. I'm going to go in with this lip and cheek glow and do sort of just a little bit of underpainting, because I'm still going to go in with the Beautiful Skin foundation. I'm going all out in this, full face of Charlotte Tilbury, because I just can't help myself. I love pulling out my Charlotte Tilbury every once in a while and going in and doing these kind of things. Let's get some, before we do that, again, in the underpainting spirit, we're going to use the Charlotte Tilbury. She calls this her On Real Skin, like, stick foundation. I wasn't a fan of it. And so but when I bought it, I don't have the shade that sort of matched my skin tone, because it went in the garage sale. It went in the garage sale when I moved out of Canada. And there's another shade, I believe, that went in sort of my garage sale, not the garage sale stuff, that I didn't get rid of. And I asked you guys, would you like me to give out some giveaways with my gently used products? And many of you were like, yes. And what inspired me to do that is that a lot of y'all over the years have said, like, hey, we'll pay the shipping. Can you send us your way some of your misses? Because in my midlife makeup crisis journey that I started several years ago, I've just bought, overconsumed, raising my hand. Yeah, I'm guilty, and have a pretty massive collection. And so I really did need to downsize a little bit when I moved from Canada to here. But this particular shade survived, because I really do think it's survived being sold at the garage sale, and survived being put into one of those gently used giveaways, because I really do like it to warm up my skin. All right, let's see, what do we have left here? I have quite a few things left here, but this is my Beautiful Skin in the shade 1 foundation. One of my favorite foundations that I have in my collection, because it does, like, Beautiful Skin, and I'm just going to go in with a couple of pumps. It's quite light. It's one of my favorites because, like its name, it really does give. Let's use the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless. It's just the Hollywood. It's no filter in this Hollywood complexion brush. This is one of my favorites. I have 2. Bought the second one when it went on sale, and the 2023, I think, Treasure Chest of Secrets, Charlotte's version of the Advent calendar, had a mini in this. So imagine it just from this size. And the bristles hold up. This is a very, very high quality brush. I really, really like it. And if you ever catch Charlotte Tilbury on the morning shows, and actually I saw this brush, it's a foundation brush, quite a bit in the makeover episodes of the Dallas Cowboy American Sweethearts Netflix documentary, because there is a point in their journey. It's not when they have, like, the full team. It's when they're still trying to make the cuts, but they take the gals to their salon. I believe it's called the Tangerine Salon, based in Dallas, where they get like a hair and makeup makeover. And this is just like the leaders of the pack, two gals named Judy and Kelly, that have been putting together this team since the 90s, both themselves former cheerleaders from their day. But the makeovers is an opportunity for those two ladies to kind of transform the gals into seeing if they've got the talent. Maybe they figure, oh, they've got the technique, they have the smile, they can whip their hair, but do they have that look? Do they have that wink and that sparkle? And one of the ways they find out is by going through this makeover process. And I've been seeing that brush a lot in that. I like how it has the smaller end where you can kind of, this is for mainly for concealer and for like really small contoury blendy areas of your face. All right, let's talk some more about Midsummer. I can't tell you all the different traditional foods that the folks eat, but one of them's pickled herring, which this one right here, not a fan of really anything pickled, so I don't think it's unique to the fact that it's herring. But I'm actually also not a fan of herring, despite my family in Michigan goes on a huge fishing trip every July, way up north, and they go after herring and they come back and we make the herring, we bread it and do a fish fry like that. My brothers, they smoke it, cousins, uncles, they all have their own recipe of smoking this stuff. There's actually going to be quite a bit of herring laying around when I get home in July because the guys will have just come off that fishing trip. However, this pickled herring thing is a deal, and Swedes in general eat a lot of potatoes, so there's a certain way that they fix their potatoes around Midsummer, and we are going to have that smorgasbord, if you will, that's what it's called, later when everybody gets back from their bike ride. So they're out scouting, maybe that's a better word, scouting the location of where we're going to go, either on foot or back on the bikes, because there's not parking for these things, where we're going to go, where our community has, listen, nothing's pilling, by the way, in case you were wondering, where our maypole is going to be, and checking all of that out. So before we go to that, the plan is we'll have our smorgasbord with the pickled herring, with the potatoes, with all these other sort of like little baby shrimps and sauces is a big deal here. We went shopping yesterday, let me tell you, the day before Midsummer, when everything's going to be closed today, like the liquor stores, the shopping centers. Holy cow, totally jam-packed because everything's closed today and actually closed tomorrow. But we stocked up. Another thing, mentioning the liquor store, another thing I will not be partaking in are schnapps. These little baby schnapps that they drink during the smorgasbord, I don't know, era of the whole day, because we're talking it's a 24-hour day because we have 24 hours of sun. Even here in Stockholm, we're always going to see light on the horizon. Up north, it's going to be a true 24 hours of sun. So we'll do the smorgasbord. This is the Beautiful Skin Concealer. I pulled out my Airbrush Flawless Concealer, recently dropped within the past year, but I'm not as much of a fan of. It's a little bit more full coverage that I'm going for. So I am, however, a fan of this Beautiful Skin Concealer. I'm just going to do my war paint and blend it in. Not a particular rhyme and reason to the whole thing. Just going to get a little bit more, accentuate the base that we just did with the Beautiful Skin Foundation. So yeah, smorgasbord, maypole dance. Then we're going to come back, maybe play some cornhole, which is more American than a Swedish tradition, but it's a beautiful day out there. We're not thinking there's going to be any rain, so we can really make the most of these 24 hours that are coming of traditional festivities. They're singing as well, and my stepsons are Swedish, so I'm sure that they will lead in some of the traditional songs that are sung while they're drinking the schnapps. The schnapps go all day, but we will plan to do a nice little barbecue when we get back from the maypole festivities, when we're hungry. All right, what do we need? We need some more warmth on the face. I don't have a lot left of my beauty wand. This is in the shade Light. But what I do have left, let's warm the face back up because we're looking quite basey. There's not a lot left, man. I gotta squeeze to get something out of this. But we're looking a little basey. I've taken the warmth out of my face, but I'm just going for a really smooth base that eventually we're gonna get some powder on, and that's gonna sustain me for, I don't know how many hours are ahead. I don't know if I can make it 24 hours. After I did that race up in Finland, we got back to the where we were staying, and just kind of ate and passed out, and it was still daylight out, but because that kind of messes you up, right? It's hard to sleep. And Xena, for those of you who are checking the channel, my little whippy spicy orange cat, she doesn't know what to do with herself with all of these long days. She doesn't know what's up and what's down when it comes to going to bed and waking up. But I don't know how many hours of these 24 that I will survive, although I did get a good night's sleep going into this last night, hoping. And there's always coffee, right? There's always coffee to keep us awake. All right, gonna go whatever's left of my beautiful skin foundation that's on the Hollywood complexion brush. I'm gonna go in with it. And we haven't even really endeavored to put much color at all. So let's go in with one of the blushes. I don't know, let's see what shade this is. Looks like a very matte, it's in the shade Pillow Talk, quintessential shade Pillow Talk. I don't have a lot. If you're buying these things, make sure that you do, turn to open and turn to close. It's closed now, I can squeeze all I want, nothing's coming out. But when it's open and you don't sort of put it back to where it should be, it can get quite messy. There we go. We're getting some out there. This one's near the end of its shelf life, but you can always cut the sponges off these puppies. Not cut, but just kind of twist them off. And I've seen makeup artists videos do that because they want to use it on their clients and they want it to be hygienic. You can't be using a product like this on a person, right, one after another, because that's just not hygienic. I've done it with my, and I don't know if I have it here. I've done it with my P. Louise. See how there's no sponge left on that? It's just so much easier to get the product out, the right amount you want out, without having to deal with this sponge. And in fact, I think this might be my last go of keeping this sponge around. But let's warm up the face. And then we really need to get into some powder. I'm going to go back with the Hollywood complexion brush to blend that in. We're just going to powder down a little bit on the eyes. And then I've got to check in with the bike riders, hit up the group chat and be like, hey, how's it going? How's the reconnaissance? And probably start, since I was left behind by my own choice, probably start thinking about putting our smorgasbord board together. We have this wood board that's like, my hands are out of the camera, longer than this, right? And you just put all the things on it. Like, just think like epic charcuterie board. That is what is going to be going on. And then I should start looking for all the little bowls that I have, just tiny little bowls where we can put all of these side salads, their version of a potato salad, these shrimp salads, the pickled herring, all the things in the little bowl. I also got some hummus because I'm not a big fan of all these little salads, but I do love me some hummus. So I'm going to try and squeeze that in. I'm going to try and squeeze some hummus into the smorgasbord so I know I'll at least have something to eat on the crackers. All right, let's work on the brows. Brow cheat, micro tip pencil here, going in with that. I'm a big fan of it. I repurchased this thing. I repurchased this when I run out, and I don't know why, because I have so many brow pencils and I tend to lean towards my NYX glue anyway lately, my little NYX glue spoolie, and put it on because it's so much faster than trying to carve out with those brush. But hey, I said this is a full face of Charlotte Tilbury, so I'm pulling out a full face of Charlotte Tilbury. This is the Brow Fix Clear brow gel. It doesn't pill, and it does keep those brows in place. I need to get my brows laminated. I'm going to be doing a full suite of beauty sort of, I don't know, beautification, glamming up before I go on my vacation. I'm going to glam up before vacation. I have to last another July 3rd. If you're watching this real time, I am booked to go see the gal that I found here that does an excellent, excellent job keeping my hair like the kind of color and cut that I want. I'm going to go see her on July 3rd, and right next to that salon, there is a lady who does brow threading that I really like. So I'm just, and here's another oversized, this is Charlotte's powder bronzer. It's in the shade 1, which I kind of, this is Charlotte's, this is her bronzer brush, so we might as well use that. It's a little bit light, but I don't want to get overly bronzed. And so I'm just never going to make it through all this. But sometimes I think, why didn't, whoops, something we didn't blend out. That's the, we got to blend out all over there. Sometimes I think, why didn't I just get like shade 2? Because this is probably the lightest powder, whoops, powder bronzer that I have. It truly is. Most of my powder bronzers are at least a shade deeper than this. But what I like to do with it, where's my Charlotte Tilbury eyebrow pencil? Not eyebrow. Oh, I thought I pulled out. I thought I pulled out my eyeshadow brush from Charlotte Tilbury, which I didn't. But because this is so light and I don't usually do a lot with my lids, I like to just fix the discolorations and dust them lightly with powder. This is the perfect shade for that kind of action. All right, I think the lips are ready to be lined, although I don't know if I'm going to have to sharpen this thing. I love her dual lip liner pencil. So you've got, this is in the shade Lip Cheat, and one side is for sculpting and the other side is for filling. So let's see, this is the sculptor side, the darker side. The darker side. Yeah, no, we need to sharpen these things. So important to keep. I should have done that before I came on and visited with you guys, because it's so important to keep these things sharp if you can, because otherwise you're just kind of like dragging wood across your lip contour area, which in my opinion, besides underneath our eyes, this lip contour area is quite a little sensitive space of the face. And the last thing I want to do is drag the wood on it. Let's go in with the filler. This is a little bit lighter, and I pulled out my iconic nude, but this is to prevent transfer. So getting this down, sculpt, and then fill with like the liner formula, and then going it over it with your lipstick and then your gloss. If you go in with the gloss, is kind of the way to go to maximize, you know, preserve really your lips from transfer throughout the day. All right, so what do we have here? We're going to start powdering up. Can I reach? Oh, I don't think I can reach it. I'm almost sure I can't reach my Cheek to Chic powder blush, but I'm not a fan of my Cheek to Chic powder blush. Wait, let's go in here. Hold on. There's Charlotte Tilbury all over the place. I love this palette, and I love making noise when I do these videos. Welcome back, by the way, to a long one. This is a lovely all-in-one face palette from Charlotte Tilbury. You've got some really nice shadows on the top. You've got a really nice, that's a sort of a deeper powder bronzer. I guess I could have went in with that. Let's just put a little bit there under my cheekbones. I could drag that up too. Using the fingers, using the beauty blush it, using the beauty blenders, using the fingers, using the brushes. I'm pulling it all out. Oh, here it is. Here's my Charlotte Tilbury eye brush. I'm going to go in and take a little bit of that darker shade and that lighter shade. I don't know if this is going to be going a little too crazy with my hooded lids. I have to put that shadow like above my lid line in order to see it, and just kind of, we're going back with this brush. Might still have a little bit of product on it, creamy product, and filling it in. I'm going bronze and I'm going glow. This is the Film Star Bronze and Glow palette. I really, really like this. Again, on my lids, I'm going to use the lighter shade just up here by my brow to brighten it a tiny bit. Gives a bright and a glow. Oh, we just hit pan. We just hit pan. I just hit pan. That is a very satisfying feeling. This, by the way, is in the giveaway. If you've missed sort of like what is in this epic giveaway, I do a breakdown of it in a couple of different videos, which I can link in here so that you can see like exactly what I'm talking about, like what I'm cooking up. But I got the massive palette out. Now we got to let that dry. I got the massive palette out because I wanted to go over and do a little bit of powdered blush. That's what's going to give us our staying power. Let's go with this P. Louise angled brush here because I do want to hit the angle. I want to come in here close to my bridge and drag it all the way up if I can, if that's not too powerful. I kind of like having that little pop of pink, and not directly under my eye, but kind of close, you know. It's all that vibe that's out there right now where everybody's talking about transitioning your blush shades, you know, from your under eye and moving them all the way up. And most people out there are saying you don't need to buy a special kit for that. You can just use whatever is in your kit. I'm sort of looking around to see I have some eyeshadows from Charlotte Tilbury, but I don't think I'm going to go in with those yet. I didn't pull it out. This is the iconic nude shade of Charlotte's lipstick. So let's just continue with, talk about a progressive video. Let's just now progressively try to finish off our lips. I might be able to easily pull. This could hang tight because things might be dropping. Oh, I knew it would happen. This is where I keep most of my eyeshadow palettes. So we've got a couple of things in here that we can look at from Charlotte. Yeah, I tried to be prepared, but yeah, you know how it is. You know how it can be when you think you're prepared and then you're like, oh, no, forgot something. This is Charlotte's, I want to say Eyes to Mesmerize in the shade Champagne. It's kind of like a cushiony eyeshadow, liquid eyeshadow. Let's go on the lids with that. Just a little bit of a pop there. I love the shade Champagne in pretty much any brand. Like, I'm a fan of that champagne shade. Just a very subtle little glow. And in fact, I'm going to go with like a cleaner part of my beauty blender and just kind of tap that in a little bit. What else fell out here? We've got Pillow Talk Hypnotizing Pop Shot in the shade Pillow Talk. This is some shimmer, my friends. Look at this. Look at that. Little bit nervous, but again, I'm going to just try to dab it on the lids. I don't want to go too high because that's, I guess, are there advantages of having hooded lids? I don't know. Somebody else tell me, but like when it comes to the shimmers, you know, hooded lids aren't going to, I don't think you're doing yourself any favor if you're working with a shimmer above your lid and you have the hooded lids and that's all people really see is that shimmer. But you can't really, like, I don't know, I've said this before, you can't really go wrong. You just, if you feel like you've overdone anything, you just have to correct. If you went too dark, then you just have to get some lightness in there, get one of your lighter, brighter concealers and cut it all. All right, going in with some, we are barring no stops, stopping no bars, bar no stops. Not quite sure. Somebody tell me how that goes. I'm basically saying we're even going in with some mascara today. This is the Exaggerize. I'm not a fan, and I wish I wouldn't have bought this in full size. And it came in the, I'm being very delicate here because I don't like these super brushy dushy applicators. They just, I don't know, I just feel like my lashes are so challenged, they're so thin. I prefer the comby applicators because you can comb it through easier. The clumps are coming on with these brushier brushes for my particular eyelids or eyelashes. I mean, maybe if you had some falsies on or you had luscious lashes, that kind of applicator would be for you. Don't normally go in with the highlighter, but since this is also in the giveaway and it doesn't look like I closed that properly in the past, that is messy. Let's just go a little bit, whatever I've got on the thing, on the sponge, definitely going in with the fingers with that and getting just like a little pop of highlight right there. I think this one might be actually past its expiration date, but I was very, very, very conservative with it. Very, very conservative. What's left? Going back to those progressive lips, I pulled out my lip blur. This is in the shade Pillow Talk, and a couple of different shades of the lip blur are also in the progressive giveaway. This is kind of a matte shade. I'm just going to kind of go in the middle of my lips with it, and that needs to dry down a little bit. But when that dries down, I've got all kinds of stuff going on, right? I did the liner with my Sculpt and Fill. Then I went in a little bit with my Iconic Nude. Started off with a little bit of the lip and cheek glow. I put that on top of the mask. So I've got build and build and build upon my lips. You don't, building your look, building your beat is not just about, you know, your cheeks and your jawline and your nose contour and your eyeshadows. You can build all over your face. Let's see, I have two shades. This is Exaggerized, and this one here is the Pillow Talk. I'm a bigger fan of the Exaggerized. This is what the Pillow Talk Charlotte Tilbury, you want to look at my mess. This is what the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk quad eyeshadow looks like, and this is the Exaggerized ones, which I'm a much bigger fan of. What shall we be brave about? Let's go in with the dark mattier one. And again, I'm gonna hit like the outer. I'm gonna hit the outer with that. I might need to smooth out those edges a bit. Let's go in with this. Blend that in. This is not, and by the way, I wish I was sponsored. Hey, get me on the team. I could be a DC. No, I couldn't be a DCC, but man, I would take all of the swag that those ladies are getting. Let's finish the face. Let's get us out of here. This is a long video. I haven't done a long video like this for a while. Oh, I pulled this out, but we didn't use it. This is not the new Charlotte Tilbury. What do you call it? Stick shadow. This is again in the shade Champagne. She has dropped some new shadow sticks. Let's see if I can just get that close to my waterline. Oh dear, I have to blend that out a little bit. Just getting it a little bit close to the waterline. I'm gonna pat it with my fingers because I'm not going in with my waterline and doing any intense eyeliner, but I do like that little shadow stick for a pop of color. Have I overdone it? I think I've overdone it here, my friends, but I just felt like playing with my Charlotte Tilbury. Look at all the time that we've had together, and I have not had to worry about one invader coming in. Finishing the face with some setting powder here from Charlotte Tilbury, the Airbrush Flawless Finish. Also in the pan, hitting that pan in the shade One Light, and we're going to be just very generous. We're going to start with the neck. Going to start there. We're going to move on the ins to the outs. Look at, I can still see that highlighting glow. It might be that product was a little bit icky sticky and it's truly on its last leg, but the highlighter wand is in the giveaway. A lot of this stuff I'm showing you, there's a mini Exaggerized mascara that's in the giveaway. Have I put any Charlotte Tilbury skincare in the giveaway yet? Not yet, but I have some, I do have some mini travel size sort of Charlotte Tilbury. I have the Wonder Glow toner. I have some minis I could put in on the skincare. What's left to do? Final spritz. Remember, the Magic Hydrator Mist has a scent to it. So I'm going to start down here. If you are averse to scents, this one might not be the one for you. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're well. I hope your family's well. Happy midsummer wherever you are. I hope that you get a lot of light in your day and that maybe you can barbecue and hang out with family and friends and just really enjoy this long day of summer. As much as I've enjoyed hanging out with you in this video, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.